Welcome back to Who Died Today USA channel. In the past few days, we have received somber news about the passing of extraordinary talents. Today's episode is dedicated to honoring their memory. Additionally, we will recap the stars we have recently lost. Before we begin, we kindly ask for your support. If this video or the legacies of these remarkable individuals have touched your life, please consider giving this video a thumbs up as a sign of respect and remembrance. Thank you. Today, we remember and celebrate the life of Renée Victor, a cherished performer whose voice and spirit touched hearts across generations. Best known for her role as the protective and endearing abuelita in Pixar's Coco, Renée brought a rare authenticity to every character she portrayed, grounding her performances in warmth, strength, and humor. Born in San Antonio, Texas in 1938, Renée began her artistic journey as a singer, performing with legendary Latin musicians like Xavier Cugat and Pérez Prado. Alongside her husband, she traveled the world as one half of Ray and Renee, enchanting audiences with music and dance. But her artistic path did not stop with music. In the 1970s, she began appearing on television and soon after carved out a respected career in both live action and voice acting. Renée's success came with its share of challenges. As a Latina artist navigating the entertainment world in a time of limited representation, she broke barriers and remained steadfast in her craft. From her work on Weeds to her heartfelt role in Coco, she brought dignity, pride, and love to every role, often shining most in moments of quiet strength. Later in life, Renée continued to lend her voice to television, film, and even video games, earning admiration from both peers and younger generations. Her final chapter was marked by courage, as she faced lymphoma with grace, surrounded by family. Renée Victor leaves behind a legacy not only of artistic excellence, but of cultural celebration and emotional truth. Her voice, and the love it carried, continues to echo in the hearts of audiences everywhere. She reminded us all of the beauty of tradition, family, and the quiet power of compassion. Devon Harjes was more than an actor. He was a storyteller with a quiet strength and a soul deeply committed to his craft. Born in Lubbock, Texas in 1983, Devon grew up with a love for animals and open skies, a peaceful backdrop that would later contrast beautifully with the layered, often intense characters he brought to life. His journey led him to New York City, where he pursued acting with quiet determination. From early roles in student films and off-Broadway plays, Devon's path steadily climbed toward recognition. He left his mark as the legendary boxer Jack Dempsey in Boardwalk Empire and brought heartfelt authenticity to roles in Daredevil, Gotham, and Manifest, where he portrayed Pete Baylor through 9 emotionally resonant episodes. Devon's performances were never flashy. Instead, they lingered, grounded in a sense of truth and vulnerability. Whether portraying a prison nurse, a bank guard, or a conflicted soul, he offered viewers something rare: humanity, unguarded and real. In early 2025, Devon faced a difficult health battle. Though his time was brief, he met it with quiet courage, surrounded by those who loved him. He passed away at Mount Sinai West in New York at the age of 41. Devon is survived by his family and his beloved cat, Maud. His life was filled with sincerity and grace, qualities that echoed in his performances and in the hearts of those he touched. His presence on screen may be gone, but the honesty and heart he gave to each role continue to shine, a lasting tribute to a life lived with quiet purpose and genuine artistry. Breaking news: Whoopi Goldberg is more than a household name. She is a movement, a force of will, creativity, and transformation, whose voice continues to echo across generations. Born Corinne Elaine Johnson in New York City on November 13, 1955, Goldberg's rise was anything but ordinary. Her story is not one of overnight success, but of unwavering courage, persistence, and profound reinvention. For those who have followed her journey through film, television, and public life, Whoopi represents something deeper than fame. She represents triumph over adversity, clarity in chaos, and strength in the face of overwhelming challenge. And today, as she nears her 7th decade, her story speaks especially powerfully to older adults who have weathered storms of their own and who see in her a kindred resilience. Goldberg's early years were marked by struggle. She was raised in Manhattan's Chelsea neighborhood by a single mother, facing economic hardship from a young age. Formal education proved difficult. She left school early, later revealing she lived with dyslexia, a challenge she would only be diagnosed with much later in life. These early setbacks, however, never robbed her of her voice. Instead, they deepened it. Long before red carpets and golden statues, Goldberg worked jobs that kept her grounded: bricklayer, funeral makeup artist, even dishwasher. Yet beneath the hard labor lived a dreamer with an irrepressible sense of humor and an innate gift for storytelling. She began to perform in local theater and eventually developed a one-woman show that would change everything. In 1984, her Broadway debut catapulted her into national attention. Her performance, raw, witty, profound, was not just entertainment, it was testimony. It captured the richness of her experience as a Black woman in America, and it refused to play by anyone else's rules. That boldness caught the attention of Steven Spielberg, who cast her in The Color Purple, 1985, one of the defining films of her career. Her portrayal of Celie, a woman who rises from abuse and invisibility into self-worth and power, earned Goldberg her first Academy Award nomination. But more importantly, it earned her a permanent place in the hearts of audiences around the world. In that performance, many saw their own pain and their own strength reflected back at them. The years that followed solidified Goldberg as a powerhouse. In 1990, she delivered a scene-stealing performance as Oda Mae Brown in Ghost, a role that won her the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress. With this, she became only the second Black woman in history to win an Oscar for acting, a milestone that resonated across Hollywood and beyond. Her comedic genius truly blossomed in Sister Act, 1992, where she played Dolores Van Cartier, a lounge singer turned reluctant nun. The film was a massive success, both commercially and culturally, spawning a sequel and a Broadway adaptation. Families around the world fell in love with Goldberg's blend of humor, heart, and humanity. While her filmography continued to grow, she was simultaneously forging a new path on television. In Star Trek: The Next Generation, she portrayed Guinan, a wise and enigmatic bartender whose calm presence anchored the Enterprise crew. Off-screen, she found an equally influential platform as the longtime co-host of The View, where she has offered commentary on everything from politics to pop culture since 2007. But even icons are not immune to hardship. Goldberg has weathered profound personal and physical challenges. In 2019, she faced a severe health crisis when she contracted double pneumonia and a serious infection that affected her entire body. She later revealed that she had come perilously close to losing her life. The experience was a wake-up call, one she shared openly in hopes of reminding others, especially seniors, not to ignore the warning signs of declining health. In the years that followed, Goldberg prioritized her well-being. When her weight increased due to treatment-related complications, she took proactive steps to regain control. Through discipline and lifestyle changes, she gradually returned to better health, and her journey has been a source of hope for many viewers facing similar struggles. In recent television appearances, fans noted her renewed energy and glowing confidence. Not one to slow down, Goldberg has continued to surprise her audience. At 68, she became the face of a major European fashion campaign, AMI Paris's Fall-Winter 2024 collection. In stark, elegant black and white portraits, She exuded the same fearlessness that has defined her entire career. She proved that elegance is not confined to youth, nor is power tied to any one age. Through all of this, Goldberg has remained a powerful voice for social justice. She has been a relentless advocate for racial equity, LGBTQ+ rights, and gender equality. Her words, both on screen and off, have often stirred debate. But that has never stopped her from speaking. She has used her platform not to please, but to provoke thought and demand better from the world around her. Of course, her honesty has not come without consequence. In recent years, some of her comments, particularly those involving historical events, have sparked backlash. Goldberg has publicly addressed these moments with her signature blend of accountability and directness. Her ability to confront criticism without abandoning her core values remains one of her defining traits. Her memoir, Bits and Pieces, My Mother, My Brother, and Me, published in 2024, revealed more about her private life than she had ever shared before. She opened up about caring for her mother during mental health crises, about painful family losses, and about her own lifelong desire to balance love with independence. Through every page, she reminded readers that behind the public figure is a woman who has lived, stumbled, loved, and learned. Today, Whoopi Goldberg continues to light up screens each morning on The View, offering her perspective with clarity and wit. She continues to act, write, and advocate, but perhaps most powerfully of all, she continues to evolve. At nearly 70 years old, she is not winding down. She is still unfolding. Her journey is a portrait of reinvention. It teaches us that we are never finished becoming who we are meant to be. It reminds us that strength is not the absence of struggle, but the refusal to be defeated by it. And it calls us to see ourselves, not as too old, too late, or too tired, but as still capable of making our greatest impact. So, what comes next for Whoopi Goldberg? We cannot say for certain, but history suggests that whatever it is, it will be bold, unfiltered, and unforgettable. And perhaps that is the greatest legacy of all, not just the awards or the roles or the records, but the reminder that life, in all its messiness, is worth showing up for every single day. Johnny Rodriguez, a groundbreaking voice in country music, touched hearts across generations with his soulful storytelling and unforgettable melodies. As one of the first Mexican-American artists to find major success in the genre, Rodriguez brought a fresh, heartfelt perspective to country music during the 1970s. His smooth vocals and emotionally rich songs like That's the Way Love Goes and Ridin' My Thumb to Mexico became classics, earning him 6 #1 hits and a cherished place in American music history. Born in Sabinal, Texas, Johnny grew up in a modest home with 9 siblings. His journey from small-town bars to the top of the Billboard charts was not without challenges. Discovered while singing behind bars in his youth, Rodriguez turned early hardship into the foundation of a remarkable career. He quickly rose to fame after signing with Mercury Records, becoming a beacon of hope and pride for the Hispanic community, and inspiring countless artists who followed. Throughout his life, Johnny faced not only the pressures of fame, but also moments of personal and legal struggle. Even in the face of controversy, he remained a deeply human figure, flawed but fiercely passionate about his music and roots. In later years, Johnny encountered serious health challenges and spent his final days in hospice care, surrounded by loved ones. He passed away on May 9, 2025, due to complications related to his health. Johnny's legacy lives on through his timeless music and the cultural doors he opened. He was more than a chart topper. He was a trailblazer whose voice captured both the beauty and the heartbreak of life. For those who knew his songs, Johnny Rodriguez will always be remembered with deep admiration and affection. Rick Derringer, a true rock and roll craftsman, spent over 6 decades bringing energy and authenticity to the stage, the studio, and the hearts of music lovers everywhere. From his breakout at just 17 with Hang On Sloopy to the iconic solo hit Rock and Roll Hoochie Koo, Derringer's guitar riffs and undeniable charisma became staples of American rock history. Born in Ohio and raised across the border in Indiana, Rick's musical journey began early and loudly. As a teenager, he helped form the McCoys and quickly reached the top of the charts, but his artistry didn't stop there. Over the years, he played alongside legends like Johnny and Edgar Winter, Cyndi Lauper, Steely Dan, and Alice Cooper. His talent was not only in performing, but in producing. He crafted 6 of Weird Al Yankovic's first albums, helping launch one of comedy music's most successful careers, and even won a Grammy for it. Rick's path wasn't always easy. As he continued to record and tour well into his 70s, he faced numerous health challenges, including undergoing ankle bypass surgery in his later years. Through it all, he remained a vital, joyful force in music, often performing with his wife Jenda and embracing both electric blues and spiritual music in his final projects. Rick Derringer passed away in Ormond Beach, Florida, on May 27, 2025, at the age of 77, due to ongoing health complications. His music endures in stadiums, radio waves, and the memories of countless fans. A creative soul and a fearless performer, Rick left behind a soundtrack that continues to inspire and electrify, loud, heartfelt, and unmistakably his own. Phil Robertson, the beloved patriarch of the Robertson family, left behind more than just a legacy of television fame. He left a life story rooted in faith, strength, and love. Known to millions as the founder of Duck Commander and the heart behind Duck Dynasty, Phil lived each day with purpose and conviction, driven by his deep belief in the transformative power of grace. Born in 1946, Phil built his life from humble beginnings in rural Louisiana. A former college quarterback turned outdoorsman and entrepreneur, he launched Duck Commander in 1972 with a single duck call and a vision. That small business would one day give rise to a media phenomenon, yet Phil's real mission never changed, sharing the gospel and living truthfully. With his bold spirit and unshakable values, he became a guiding figure not only to his family, but to millions of viewers who saw in him something timeless and true. In December 2024, Phil's family shared that he had been diagnosed with Alzheimer's. Surrounded by love and care, he faced the months ahead with quiet courage. On May 25, 2025, Phil passed away at age 79 due to complications related to the disease. In his final days, he continued to offer wisdom, telling his granddaughter Sadie, "Full strength ahead." Those words now echo in the hearts of all who loved him. Phil Robertson's legacy is not just one of duck calls and TV moments, but of unwavering faith, family devotion, and the simple but profound idea that a life centered on love, for God and for others, can leave an impact that lasts for generations. James Foley, the thoughtful and quietly influential director behind films like Glengarry Glen Ross and the 50 Shades sequels, brought a steady hand and an artist's eye to every story he told. Over 4 decades, he built a diverse body of work that spanned music videos, intense dramas, psychological thrillers, and major Hollywood productions, always marked by his ability to bring depth out of his characters and power from the script. Born in 1953, Foley began his directing journey in 1984 with Reckless, and soon after, he drew acclaim for The Haunting at Close Range. His early collaborations with Madonna on some of her most iconic music videos, like Live to Tell and Papa Don't Preach, cemented his place in pop culture history. He brought the same cinematic instincts to his later work on TV hits like House of Cards and Billions. Perhaps his most enduring legacy lies in Glengarry Glen Ross, 1992, the David Mamet adaptation that featured some of the finest ensemble acting of its time. With restraint and clarity, Foley allowed the performances to shine, an approach he once described modestly. If you cast the right people, stay out of the way. James Foley passed away peacefully in his sleep earlier this week in Los Angeles at the age of 71, following a years-long struggle with brain cancer. His career was one of quiet impact, a director more interested in elevating the story than chasing the spotlight. Foley's work lives on in the memorable performances he captured and the emotional truth he always sought behind the camera. For those who admired his films, he remains a voice of honesty and craftsmanship in American cinema. Angie Stone, a powerful voice in both hip-hop history and modern R&B, lived her life with unwavering authenticity and soul. Rising to fame in the late 1970s with The Sequence, one of the first all-female rap groups, Stone blazed trails before most even knew the road existed. Songs like Funk You Up became foundational to the genre and inspired countless artists who followed. But Angie's true renaissance came decades later, when she helped shape the neo-soul movement of the late 90s and 2000s. With hits like No More Rain, In This Cloud, and Wish I Didn't Miss You, she carved out a space all her own, a blend of gospel roots, heartfelt lyricism, and a voice that carried both strength and tenderness. Her albums, including Black Diamond and Mahogany Soul, touched the hearts of listeners and stood tall alongside contemporaries like Erykah Badu and Lauryn Hill. A gifted songwriter, mentor, and actress, Angie also poured herself into stage and screen. From Broadway's Chicago to roles in The Fighting Temptations and Ride Along, she brought the same honesty and charisma that made her music timeless. On March 1, 2025, at age 63, Angie Stone passed away following a tragic car accident after a performance in Alabama. The news stunned fans and fellow artists alike, a heartbreaking end to a life that gave so much. Angie's journey was not always easy. She battled health challenges and industry setbacks, but she never lost her spirit or her purpose. Her music, her story, and her legacy will continue to uplift generations to come. Angie Stone didn't just sing about love and truth, she lived it, and the world is better because she did. Robert John, the golden voice behind the 1979 hit Sad Eyes, touched hearts with his soaring falsetto and emotional sincerity. His music carried a tender honesty, rooted in decades of perseverance and quiet passion. With a career that began in childhood and peaked with a chart-topping ballad, Robert John's life reflected both the trials and triumphs of an artist who never gave up. Born in Brooklyn on January 3, 1946, and first known as Bobby Pedrick Jr., he made his recording debut at just 12 years old. After early success and a brief step away from the spotlight, he returned to music with a mature voice and vision. In 1972, his heartfelt cover of The Lion Sleeps Tonight climbed to number 3 on the Billboard charts. But it was Sad Eyes that became his signature, a vulnerable, beautifully crafted song that reached number 1 in 1979 and earned him a Grammy nomination. Despite the success of Sad Eyes, Robert John's path was not without obstacles. He faced skepticism from record labels and periods of being overlooked, but he continued to write, produce, and perform, leaving a lasting impression on the music world with a voice that was unmistakable. Robert John passed away on February 24, 2025, at the age of 79. He had been recovering from a stroke in recent years, surrounded by loved ones and supported by his longtime partner, Susan. He is remembered not only for his music, but for his gentle spirit and enduring commitment to his craft. His voice, clear, pure, and timeless, lives on in the melodies that brought comfort and connection to so many. In every soft note of Sad Eyes, his legacy remains. Jeff Margolis, a master of live television and the creative force behind some of the most iconic awards shows of the last half-century, spent his life bringing celebration, joy, and elegance to millions of homes. From the Oscars to the Emmys, from presidential galas to unforgettable musical specials, Jeff shaped the way we honor entertainment and its stars. Born in Los Angeles in 1946, Jeff began his career humbly, holding cue cards on Let's Make a Deal, but his gift for timing, collaboration, and visual storytelling quickly set him apart. Over 4 decades, he directed 22 American Music Awards, 8 Oscar ceremonies, and countless tributes to legends like Frank Sinatra, Michael Jackson, and Cher. He also guided the Screen Actors Guild Awards for 16 years, turning it into one of the most respected events of awards season. Jeff Margolis passed away in Nashville on May 23, 2025, at the age of 78. His family shared that he passed peacefully, leaving behind a rich legacy of excellence and innovation. To those who worked with him, Jeff was more than a director. He was a leader who valued kindness, calm, and collaboration. "I focus on building a family-like atmosphere," he once said. That spirit was evident in every show he touched. His memoir, We're Live in 5, My Extraordinary Life in Television, captured not just a career, but a deep love for the magic of live TV. Jeff is survived by his children, Adam, Aaron, and Samantha, and grandchildren Max and Milo. His vision lives on in every red carpet walk, every standing ovation, and every moment when millions tune in to celebrate the art of storytelling. Roger Nichols, the gentle genius behind some of the most beloved songs of the 1970s, brought tenderness, elegance, and timeless beauty to American pop music. As the composer of cherished Carpenter's classics like We've Only Just Begun, Rainy Days and Mondays, and I Won't Last a Day Without You, Roger's melodies helped define a generation and gave voice to some of life's most tender moments. Born in 1940, Roger began his musical career with quiet discipline and unwavering heart. Paired with lyricist Paul Williams by A&M Records, the duo created a legacy of gentle, heartfelt songs that became staples at weddings, on radios, and in hearts across the world. Their work was more than hit-making, it was soul-touching. Roger passed away peacefully on May 17, 2025, at the age of 84, surrounded by his loving wife Terry and daughters Claire and Caitlin. Though no cause of death was given, his family confirmed he was home, where he had built the peaceful life he once dreamed of, by a quiet river in Montana. Though he eventually stepped away from the music industry, feeling it had changed, Roger never stopped bringing beauty to the world, through his family, his creativity, and his deep love for the life he built. His daughter Caitlin remembered him not just as a songwriter, but as a violinist, jeweler, athlete, and a devoted father. His music lives on in every aisle walked, every dance shared, and every quiet moment when a simple song says what words alone cannot. Roger Nichols may have stepped away from the stage, but his melodies continue to carry us through life's most meaningful moments, with grace, warmth, and love. Taina Elg, the luminous Finnish-born actress and dancer who brought grace and sophistication to both stage and screen, will long be remembered for her radiant presence and timeless performances. Best known for her role opposite Gene Kelly in the 1957 musical Less Girls and her Tony-nominated Broadway work, Taina's life was a celebration of artistry in motion. Born in Helsinki on March 9, 1930, to a family of musicians, Taina took her first bow in film at age 10 and soon trained with the Finnish National Ballet. Her journey took her to London, where she was discovered by an MGM producer and signed to a 7-year contract. In Hollywood, she charmed audiences in films like The Prodigal, Diane, and Gabby, earning a Golden Globe for Best Female Foreign Newcomer in 1956. It was Less Girls, a vibrant, music-filled tale alongside Gene Kelly, Mitzi Gaynor, and Kay Kendall that made Taina a household name, earning her a shared Golden Globe for Best Actress in a Musical or Comedy. She continued her success in the British spy thriller The 39 Steps, and later graced the Broadway stage in productions like Where's Charlie? And 9. Taina passed away peacefully on May 15, 2025, at the age of 95, in her hometown of Helsinki. Her long and varied career included unforgettable appearances in television dramas and national tours, as well as a return to her roots in Finland later in life, where she was honored with the Order of the Lion. Taina Elg brought beauty, intelligence, and emotional depth to every role she embraced. Her legacy endures not only in her performances, but in the memories of those who watched her shine, with elegance, poise, and a dancer's heart. Dilley. Mara Corday, a captivating figure of 1950s Hollywood, brought strength, glamour, and spirit to every role she played, from monster-chasing heroines to Western frontiers women. With her signature poise and screen presence, she etched her place in the hearts of classic film fans and left behind a legacy as rich as her era. Born Marilyn Joan Watts on January 3, 1930 in Santa Monica, she found her footing early as a showgirl at the famed Earl Carroll Theater. Adopting the name Mara Corday after a perfume she admired, she pursued her dreams during a time when strong female leads in genre films were rare. She starred in cult favorites like Tarantula, The Giant Claw, and The Black Scorpion, becoming a beloved figure among sci-fi and Western enthusiasts alike. Mara's film career slowed after she married fellow actor Richard Long, but following his passing in 1974, longtime friend Clint Eastwood invited her back to the screen. She appeared in several of his films, including The Gauntlet, Sudden Impact, and Pink Cadillac, gracefully transitioning into later chapters of her cinematic life. Mara Corday passed away on February 9, 2025, at the age of 95 from arteriosclerotic cardiovascular disease at her home in Valencia, California. More than a starlet, Mara was a survivor of Hollywood's changing tides. She weathered personal trials and industry limitations with dignity and humor, and in doing so, inspired a new generation of fans and filmmakers. Her legacy lives on in the bold characters she portrayed and the devotion she held for her craft. For many, she remains a symbol of classic Hollywood resilience, fierce, beautiful, and unforgettable. Les Dilley, the Oscar-winning art director and production designer who helped shape the visual world of Star Wars, Raiders of the Lost Ark, and Alien, leaves behind a legacy woven into the very fabric of cinematic history. With a career spanning over 6 decades and more than 100 film and television projects, Les didn't just create sets, he crafted universes. Born in South Wales in 1941, Les entered the film industry humbly as a plasterer on From Russia with Love and rose through sheer talent and determination. His contributions to film art direction became legendary. He earned Academy Awards for Star Wars, A New Hope, and Raiders of the Lost Ark, and nominations for Alien, The Empire Strikes Back, and The Abyss. Whether conjuring ancient temples, futuristic starships, or alien worlds, Les brought imagination to life with precision and grace. Les passed away on May 20th, 2025, at the age of 84, due to complications from Alzheimer's disease. His family shared that he remained passionate about his craft until the very end, spending his later years building a home that reflected the wonder of his life's work. He is survived by his loving wife Leslie and their 5 children. More than an artist, Les Dilley was a kind-hearted man known for his humor, humility, and boundless creativity. He often spoke of his joy in working with collaborators and his love for storytelling through design. As long as there are movies that transport us to far-off galaxies or distant adventures, his work will continue to awe, inspire, and endure. Breaking news. Kate Winslet is not just a name. She is a force. A woman who rose from humble beginnings to become one of the most respected and enduring talents in cinema. And yet, her story is about so much more than just red carpets and awards. What gives someone the strength to push back against unrealistic beauty standards, to speak candidly about aging and wellness, and to keep creating art with fierce purpose after 3 decades in the spotlight? And perhaps more importantly, what can we learn from her journey? Born on October 5, 1975, in Reading, England, Kate Winslet came into the world far from the glamour of Hollywood. Raised in a working-class family of actors and artisans, she was introduced to storytelling at a young age. But her path to fame was not paved with ease. Winslet began her career as a teenager, facing rejection after rejection. Do you remember what it felt like to be told you were not enough? Kate does. And instead of giving in, she leaned in. Her first big break came in 1994, when she starred in Peter Jackson's Heavenly Creatures. From there, her performance in Sense and Sensibility earned her an Academy Award nomination at just 20 years old. But the role that changed everything? Titanic. In 1997, the epic love story catapulted her and Leonardo DiCaprio into global superstardom. But here is where her story veers from the expected path. Rather than chasing blockbusters, she chose difficult, emotional roles in films like Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, The Reader, and Little Children. Why? Because she was not interested in playing the perfect woman. She wanted to play the real one. Can you relate to that desire for authenticity over approval? Winslet has always defied expectations, especially when it comes to appearance. Early in her career, she was ridiculed by the press for her body. Tabloids labeled her as too big for leading lady status. But instead of fading into the background, she took up space and claimed her worth. Have you ever had to fight to be seen as you are? Kate has. And she turned those criticisms into fuel. She has since become a champion for body positivity, particularly for women navigating midlife. In a world obsessed with youth, Winslet reminds us that beauty deepens with age. In 2021's Mayor of Easttown, she insisted her character look real, flawed, tired, human. No heavy makeup, no airbrushing, just truth. "This is what women really look like," she said, and viewers responded. The series became a hit, not just for its plot, but for the way it validated women who rarely see themselves reflected honestly on screen. Do you think Hollywood does enough to represent women over 40? Share your thoughts in the comments. As Winslet entered her late 40s, she began to talk more openly about health, both physical and emotional. She revealed the challenges of hormonal shifts, fatigue, and changing energy levels. Rather than hide these experiences, she used her platform to normalize them. Recently, she discussed her journey with hormonal changes in midlife. She acknowledged the struggle to maintain energy, clarity, and confidence. Many fans were moved when she said, "I feel stronger now than I ever have, because I know myself better." For those in their 40s, 50s, or beyond, can you relate to that feeling of growing into your true self? Her commitment to wellness is not about vanity. It is about vitality. In interviews, she has talked about how staying active, both mentally and physically, helps her feel present and powerful. She even trained to hold her breath for over 7 minutes while filming Avatar: The Way of Water, a testament to her discipline and mind-body connection. Yet Winslet is not only surviving, she is thriving. She recently starred in and produced Lee, a film about war photographer Lee Miller. This was not just a role, it was a mission. She spent years developing the project, determined to tell the story of a woman whose contributions to history had been overlooked. Have you ever felt someone important was left out of the narrative? That your own story, or that of someone you admire, deserved more attention? That is exactly what motivated Kate to bring Lee to life. Outside of film, she also dedicates time to causes close to her heart. Winslet co-founded the Golden Hat Foundation to support individuals with autism, inspired by a documentary she narrated. Her voice is not just for acting, it is for advocacy. But even as she breaks boundaries, she has not escaped controversy. Recently, Winslet criticized the growing popularity of extreme weight loss trends, calling them harmful and unsustainable. She has also pushed back against the use of filters and digital editing on actors' bodies. Some called her comments divisive. Others called them brave. What do you think? Should public figures be more open about the pressure to appear a certain way? Winslet believes that hiding the truth only adds to the pressure. She encourages young people to understand that real life is not airbrushed, and that happiness comes not from perfection, but from self-acceptance. She is also vocal about the importance of storytelling that includes all ages, body types, and backgrounds. She believes the industry is changing, but slowly, and that every honest performance brings it closer to where it needs to be. So, where does Kate Winslet go from here? The answer is anywhere she wants. With new projects, advocacy, and a grounded sense of self, she enters her next chapter with confidence. Her message to others is simple but powerful. You are enough. Right now, as you are. And perhaps that is the greatest legacy of all. Kate Winslet's life is not a fantasy. It is a real, imperfect, beautiful journey of growth, healing, strength, and resilience. She has shown that it is possible to live with integrity in an industry built on illusion, and that authenticity, not conformity, is the true path to greatness. If this story resonated with you, if you see yourself in any part of her journey, share your thoughts in the comments. What part of Kate Winslet's story inspired you the most? And if you enjoyed this tribute, subscribe for more deep dives into the lives of women who lead with heart, not just headlines. Because stories like this remind us that aging is not a decline, it is a rise. Kate Winslet is not done, and neither are you.